Good day, Year 8. This is our second lesson on measurement. Today's lesson is on circle relationship and circumference. Our learning intention is how to solve problems relating to circle relationships and circumference. Success criteria will still be applying the FSSU framework to solve problems involving circumference of a circle. We already did perimeters in our previous lesson, and also from year 7 we know our basic measurement facts, and we also know units of measurement. Right, let's start with some math literacy. Maths literacy. You may know this already, but let's go over it quickly. The perimeter of a circle is called circumference. In other words, all the distance around your circle. That distance has a special name, circumference. The center of your circle is the point whereby if you drew any straight line from the center to any of the other ends of your circumference, that distance will be the same. Let's talk about the diameter. The diameter is the straight line that goes through the center from one side of your circumference to the other side. That whole length is called diameter, and usually we use the symbol D for it. The radius, on the other hand, is any straight line that goes from the center of your circle to the circumference. Radius, and we'll denote that as R. So diameter D, radius R. It is quite evident from this discussion that R is equal to D divided by 2. Or in other words, D is equal to 2 times R. Right. So based on that information from our literacy part, we can say the formula for calculating the circumference of a circle is pi d. C equals pi times d. Since we've already established that d is equal to 2 times of r, we can also write this c as 2 pi r. In other words, in place of d, we put 2r. So you have pi times 2r. But it is very convenient in mathematics. Instead of writing c equals pi times 2r, by convention, we put the 2, the number in front. So if I put a number in front, it becomes 2 pi r. So we have two formulas that we can use, either c equals pi d or c equal to 2 pi r. Let's have our first problem. We are to calculate the circumference of the circle correct to 2 decimal places. Now, in solving problems of circumference, area, and all those kind of stuff, we'll always be doing rounding. So correct to 2 decimal places means that we have to round our final answer to 2 places. Right. Looking at the problem, we've been given the diameter D is equal to 9 centimeters. That is given to us in this problem. We can see it from the diagram. We are applying the success criteria FSSU. like we did in the previous lesson. So pi d is the formula. You write it. Then because we know the value of d, we can do the substitution. So d is equal to 9. So that's the d is replaced with 9. Now pi times 9, you will need your calculator. So if you grab your calculator, this is all that you see on your calculator, and it goes on. All right. But the question says 2 decimal places, so which means we have to round to 2 places. After the decimal point, we have so many digits, but we want only 1, 2, so it ends at a 7. So let me just circle that. Let me place a line under the 4, which is the digit immediately following my second decimal place. Because it is a 4, convention have it that we ignore it. So my answer is simply 28.27. That's 2 decimal, correct to 2 decimal places. So you're simplified by performing using your calculator at this point here. So this is where the simplification has taken place, and that gives us that together with the rounding that we did. And the units, the centimeters that we put there. So every part of it, if it didn't say correct to 2 decimal places, that would have been our answer. But because it says 2 decimal places, this is our answer. This is not, it's partially complete. So to get a tick and a cross, if you leave your answer there, because you'll be ignoring that part which says 2 decimal places. So that gives you the full mark. Right. Calculate the circumference of a circle correct to 2 decimal places again. So again, we'll be doing some rounding. We'll be doing rounding, and we'll apply the rules of rounding. What is given to us? Given radius equals 3 centimeters. I know it's radius because it starts from the center of the circle to the circumference. So, and it's a straight line. So that's my radius. So that's the formula, which is C equals 2 pi r. In place of r, we put 3 because we know that the radius is 3. At this point, we grab our calculator, and this part is the calculator part. We grab our calculator and we do that and use pi from the calculator. Don't use 3.14, use the pi because we are going to round, so you cannot round first, or our rounding should always occur at our final answer. Now, from this answer here, remember, if you leave your answer here, I'll put a tick and I'll put a cross because that's incomplete. You need to round the answer. It says 2 decimal places, so after this decimal point, there are 1, 2 digits there, so the second decimal place, I put a circle and I underline the 9. Now, because that's a 9, I have to add 1 to this. Have to add 1 to the 4, so it becomes a 5. So our answer is that, and correct to 2 decimal places. So this gives you the full mark. And again, that's the formula. Here was the substitution. That is simplified. And that's the unit M, which is there. So whichever way we look at it, we are applying F, S, S, and U. That's the framework to help us show our working out, to help us set out the work in such a way that it makes logical sense. Right. This is a semicircle, as we can see. We are being asked to find the perimeter of the shape. Again, correct to 2 decimal places, so rounding. Now, what do we know? Given or known, we know that the diameter equals 5 meters. Okay. Now, to find perimeter, what did we say? Perimeter is all the distance around the shape. That part is a semicircle, which is half of a circle. So C over 2. And then this part here is all part of the perimeter of the outside of the shape. So it is all that plus all that. So that's why the formula is C over 2 plus D. C over 2 simply means half of the circumference, because circumference of a circle is a full circle. So half plus that diameter D. Since we know D, we can use circumference formula, which is pi D. But it's pi D divided by 2 because we want half of that. Then plus that diameter D. Then we need to do the substitution. So this is all the formula. And this is where we do the substitution. We know that D is 5. So where I have D, I put 5. That was D, and that was D. So it becomes 5. Now you can grab your calculator and do all that calculation at one go. All that you need to do is pi, your calculator input will be pi times 5 divided by 2. With some calculators, I will hit the equal button and you get some answer. You get some answer. And the answer that you get on your screen, you say plus 5 and equal to again, and you get your new answer. And that will be the answer here, 12.85398. Now, because you will have to round to 2 decimal places, we know that the decimal point is over there. So 1, 2, I'll circle the 5 and underline the 3. But because it's a 3, anything less than 5, you ignore. Anything 5 or more, you add 1 to the preceding digit. So in this case, we ignore the 3. So our final answer for the perimeter of that shape up there is that, to 2 decimal places. So as we can see, that was our formula. Substitution, that was the formula, is still here, formula. That was the substitution because we substituted for the D. This is our simplified answer, and that's our unit. So the formula had to be rewritten again because the C was pi D. So we had to tidy it up. So that's the formula. Substitution is here, simplify, and unit. Any questions? We can address them on Classroom. Thank you. Right, again, we need to calculate the perimeter of the shape given to us. Now, you appreciate this is a quarter of a circle. That's a quarter of a circle. That's a quarter of a circle. That's the radius, and that's also the radius. So the formula is a quarter of a circumference plus 2 times r. But because we are using r, we will use c equal to 2 pi r. So 2 pi r over 4 plus 2r. 2r, of course, is d, but we'll leave it as it is. Now, what is also given or known? Given. What is given? R is equal to 7 centimeters. So in place of r, we put 7. In place of r, we put 7. Again, grab your calculator, do the calculator input, do the first part, then say plus and put in brackets because that's how most calculators will understand this. So you do your input to, this is the calculator input. Calculator input. You do 2 times pi times 7 divide by 4, hit the equal sign button. You'll get your answer on the screen, and then with that answer you do plus, open the bracket, 2 times 7, close bracket, and close the bracket, and hit equal to. And that gives you the answer here. Now, remember at this point, you get this and that until you've rounded to 2 decimal places. So the decimal point is over there. Decimal point is over there. So 9, I'll circle the 9 and underline the 5. Right, at this point, be very careful. This, because it's 5, is going to add 1. It's going to add 1 to that 9. That 9 becomes a 10, so 0 remaining 1. And that 9 becomes a 10, 0 remaining 1, and that 4 becomes a 5. So your final answer to 2 decimal places is 25.00. Is it necessary to write a 00? Yes, because our answer has to be 2 decimal places. So although 25 has the same value as 25.00, mathematically, our answer got to be left as 25.00 to show that we have 2 decimal places. And that gives you the tick. Just remember, you had 24.99, and then there is a 5 after that. So this 5 is adding 1 to the 9, and 1 plus the 9 gives you 10, so 0 remaining 1, and that becomes a 10, so 0 remaining 1, and that 4 becomes a 5. So that's what you end up with, 25.00. And that's the answer. Okay? So pay attention to how you do that. Any questions? Let's discuss on Google Classroom. You can pause here, write this question out, and solve it. Once you finish, you can continue the video and listen to my explanation. I hope you've paused, written the question, and solved it yourself. So listen to my explanation now. Now we know that the diameter of C is equal to 20 centimeters. That one is given. That one is given to us because that's 20 centimeters. That's the diameter from one end to the other end for C. Now, circle B starts from the center to the circumference of C. So the diameter of B is equal to half of 20, and so that will be 10 centimeters. Likewise, for circle A, which also starts from the center of B to the circumference, the diameter of A would be equal to half of that, which would be 5 centimeters. So the radius of A will be equal to the diameter of A divided by 2, 5 divided by 2, and that's equal to 2.5 centimeters. So that's the correct answer, 2.5 centimeters. Okay. Pause again, solve this problem, and then we can discuss. Pause, solve, and then we discuss. I hope you've done it. Let's discuss. Now, we have a paper circle with a diameter of 6 centimeters. So what is given is diameter equals 6 centimeters. And is cut out into quarters and then rearranged as shown here. So this is that circle which has been cut and rearranged. Now, on a close examination, you can see some things, but let's keep reading. It says the circumference of the paper circle was approximately 18.85 centimeters. So the perimeter, the circumference, I beg your pardon, the circumference of the circle was 18.85 centimeters. That's also given. What is the perimeter of the new shape, rounded to 2 decimal places? Okay. Now, on a close inspection of what we have, the new shape has got a quarter of a circle there, a quarter of a circle here. That's the third quarter of circle, and that's the fourth quarter of circle. So the perimeter of the new shape is simply 4 times C over 4 quarters, plus this straight edge here, which is the radius, and that straight edge, which is radius, plus radius plus radius. So this is simply equal to, the 4 will cancel the 4, so you have a full circle plus 2r. So this is our formula. Let's do the substitution. So P is equal to, now C is giving us 18.85 plus 2. Now, diameter is giving us 6 centimeters. So obviously, radius will be equal to 6 divided by 2, which is equal to 3 centimeters. So this will be 2 times 3, which is still 6, because 2R was D. So we have 18.85 plus 6. And we don't need a calculator for that, because 18 plus 6 is 24. So 24.85. It's already in 2 decimal places, and the unit is centimeters. So that was your formula, that was your substitution, and this is simplified, and that's the unit. So again, we're applying the FSSU. So that's the correct response. Okay, let's have a look. On this slide, please, what I want you to do is to write, pause, copy these questions into your math books, and solve them all. Copy them in the math books, solve them all, showing all your working out. Showing all the working out. Pause again, copy this into your math book, and solve it. But I'll be discussing it shortly. I'll give you time. I hope you have paused, completed this work in your math book already, so we can commence the discussion. Now, Jane and Kate ran once around the circular track shown, and we have the circular track shown here in the diagram. That's the diagram of the circular track they are running on. How much further? Jane runs along path J, and Kate takes path K. How much further than Kate does Jane run? Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So again, some rounding required. Rounding required. Right. So how much further? The further distance will be equal to the distance Jane is running. And since Jane has to run around that circle, that's simply the circumference. So the circumference J runs minus the circumference Kate runs. Now, we can write this out. Circumference is, we know the radius. Let's write it here, given. Let's write it down here. Given R of J is equal to 54 meters, and R of K is equal to 52 meters. So this C of J, we can write it in terms of radius. So 2 pi R of J, and I'm using J subscript just to refer to that radius for Jane, minus 2 pi R of Kate. So that when you do the substitution, you know what goes in there and you know what goes in here. So Remember, this is our formula. Let's do the substitution. So you have 2 times pi times 54 minus 2 times pi times 52, because those are the different values of Jane's radius and Kate's radius. Now it's time to grab our calculators, and if you apply a bit of algebra here, all that we have is 2 times pi times into bracket 54 minus 52. You don't need to do this. If you find it difficult, you can just use your calculator and just evaluate that one straight away here. But this is what it means. So I'll grab my calculator and I'll put it on, and I'll say 2 times pi will be shift exp, and that gives you the pi, and multiply by 54 minus 52 is just 2. So that gives me 12.56637, and so on. Now, as you can see, our answer should be to 2 decimal places. So that's 1, 2. I usually will circle the second one where I need to be, and I'll underline that. But because that's a 6, I got to add 1 to this 6. I cannot ignore that. So how much further? It will be 12.57. And the unit is meters. And this is to 2 decimal places. I just write dp for short, 2 decimal places. So how much further? That's the distance, extra distance Jane has to run compared to Kate. 12.57. 12.57. All right, any questions? So that gives you the full marks. That was FS. That's the simplified, and that's the units. Any questions? Let's discuss on Google Classroom. Please pause, solve this problem, and copy it out first, solve it, and we can discuss at Google Classroom. Make sure you're showing all you're working out. Okay, so let's have a look again at this question. You pause, solve it, and we'll discuss in a moment. All right. Let's discuss. Yogi was asked to find the perimeter of the following 2 shapes, and here is his working. That's the first working, and that's the second working. That's the second one. That's the first one. Okay. Let's call that I and I. Now, question A. Explain how you can tell without using a calculator that each answer is incorrect. How would you know? Well, you know because what has he been given here? He's been given diameter equals 8 centimeters. See, that's why it's important to write the formula. The formula is he's using is 2 pi r, and he's substituting 8 for r. And so that's where he makes the mistake. R is not 8 because the diameter is 8. R is 4. So that's where the mistake occurred. What about this one? So that answer will be wrong, obviously. Looking at this, he's been asked to find the perimeter. Now, the perimeter is a quarter of a circle, which is correct because giving r equals 11 centimeters here. So the substitution is correct, but Yogi has failed to add that radius, and that radius is not. So that's what makes this incorrect. And so that's incorrect as well. For each one, explain the mistake that Yogi has made. That's exactly what we have just explained now. Because this perimeter includes this straight edge and that straight edge, which is not shown in the diagram. And in this case, we said the diameter is being substituted instead of the radius. Okay, so C. How do you calculate the correct answers? Well, C1. Let's take the first one here. So the formula is going to be 2 pi r. We know that r is equal to 8 divided by 2, which is equal to 4 centimeters. So our C equals pi 2 times pi times 4. And so C will be equal to, so we grab our calculators now and we do that, and we will get 25.1327, 25.1327 dot dot dot, and to two decimal places, that's a 2 here, so we have to ignore that. So our C is equal to 25.13, and the unit is centimeters. So that is our formula. That is the substitution. And here we have simplify and units. Right, let's look at the second one. Remember, we need that, which is a quarter of a circle. So like all the calculation he did here, plus this and plus that. So our formula for perimeter would be C over 4 plus R plus R. That will be equal to 2 pi R over 4 plus 2R. So that's the formula. Let's do the substitution. 2 times pi times R, which is 11 over 4 plus 2 times 11. If we perform all that on the calculator, let's grab the calculator. We're going to get, let's just do that very quickly. So you have 2 times pi times r, which is 11, or divide by 4 plus 22. That gives me 39.278. 39.278, and so on. Now, again, to 2 decimal places, I will circle the 7, underline the 8. Because it's an 8, 1 has to add to the 7. So this and so on. So this is equal to 39.28. And the unit is centimeters. And this is to cm. And this is to 2 dp, 2 decimal places. So that will be our answer. So that's the formula, that's the substitution, and that's the simplify, and that's the units. So all the time we're applying FSSU to our problems. So to recap, today we looked at circle relationship and circumference. Our learning intention was to solve problems relating to circle relationships and circumference. Our success criteria was to apply the FSSU to solve problems involving circumference and circle relationship and circumference of a circle. Now, the FSSU, we explained that to be formula, substitution, simplify, or simplifying, and then units. So this is the framework with which we are able to logically think about our problems and solve them. For extension work, please complete the companion worksheet questions, and also make sure that you're doing your online homework on mymathsonline.com.au. And please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel by typing Chris Tabi Maths. Chris Tabi Maths. Thank you very much once again. I look forward to our next lesson. Have a great day. If you have questions, remember to post them on Google Classroom. Thanks.